Okay. So today we're going to be talking about your teen is now an adult. So the 5 documents that they may need, right? A lot of times parents don't really think about this when their kids turn 18 years old. There's a lot of things that actually happen from that perspective. So my name is Krista Hermans. I'm an estate planning attorney. Our firm is Hermans Law, where we are the estate planning moms and dads, and really focus on planning for families with young kids, right? A lot of times I find that people don't really think about estate planning when they're younger. And this is really what we focus on is making sure that parents really know what their options are. So we do planning for all. So it's not like we don't help clients that are older. It's just really just trying to make sure that parents do have that sense of protection, knowing that they have plans in place. So real quick, we have this is our team that we have. It's a very family-oriented practice. We have offices in Ventura, Westlake Village, Calabasas, Santa Clarita, Pasadena, Irvine, and we service clients virtually throughout the state of California. If anything, being able to speak with clients virtually has really allowed us to be able to help clients all over the state. Okay, so let's get to it. So congratulations, you either have a child that has turned 18 or they are about to be 18 years old. So that's, huge milestone when it comes to their life and the things that they are doing. And now turning 18 is really kind of just, starting this whole new aspect for them. And generally when kids turn this age, they are going to have certain other things that kind of start happening, whether it's graduating from high school, going off to college, starting a new job, or moving away from home. So it is the beginning of adulthood for these kids that are now turning 18, these young adults. So there is a big difference when it comes to really having the child being that age of a minor child versus the age of a young adult. So as a minor, all of their decisions were really dictated by their parents, right? The parents had the control when it comes to anything from a legal perspective, right? They handled everything. So when I say minor children, so it's anybody under the age of 18, and at least in California, and so once your child turns 18, they are a legal adult, right? While they are still your child, they are no longer under your legal control. They are their own adult. Um, so as an adult, they have their own status, right? Their own ability to make all of these legal decisions for themselves because now they have turned 18 years old. So they get to make their own choices, right? They get to choose where they want to live, where they want to go to school, who they want to see for doctors and dentists. And I'm sure they're still going to rely on you a lot, just because they're used to it for their whole life. But there are things that you're probably still going to need to assist with, at least for a majority of children or now young adults. So again, when they turn that age, right, from the day that they turn 17, they hit their birthday, when they turn 18, that is the day that in the eyes of the law, they are now an adult. So it's just that one day can then make the difference of them being able to make those legal decisions. And so, like I said, they were probably used to you being there making those decisions for them, being able to help and do all of these things for them. And maybe they're not really ready to navigate on their own, right? This newfound freedom. And so they want you to be able to assist with certain things because that's what they're used to. And there's a lot of changes happening. It can be very overwhelming and very emotional. And so you still have the ability. There's just certain legal things that need to be done ahead of time to make sure that you have those abilities to do. Um, so it's important that those steps, those actions, affirmative steps are taken to get those legal documents in writing, get them done properly so that, if they needed assistance with certain things, you were able to assist them with whatever they needed. Okay. So first thing I just want to say, I know that planning is not easy. It is a hard subject to talk about, especially when it comes to your kids and any of the stuff that we talk about from a planning perspective in making decisions that if, they were incapacitated, what would they want? I know it's hard. I get it. But it's so important to not have that be the reason that you don't have these decisions and have these discussions with your kids because it's hard, right? It's important because if anything, it makes it very clear that you've had these conversations and everybody's on the same page, everybody knows what they want, and there's legal documents that state it. Um, there's a lot of times parents don't really think about it, but things can happen to kids when they go away to college. And a lot of times, you kind of hear these horror stories where, kids will go away to college, something will happen, and then the parents, they can't get any information from the doctors of what's going on. They're prevented from getting information. They don't know what's going on. And so by doing these discussions and having these conversations and getting the legal documents in place, the idea is to have all of this so that if something happened, you can easily make sure that you are aware of what's going on. You can make decisions. You are in the know because you have these legal documents that say that you can do this. Okay. If there is no planning in place, it can actually make things harder. So while I know that the decisions that you are having right now are hard, not having these conversations and not having the legal documents in place can actually make things harder. So when a child turns 18, right, when they become that young adult, um, if they get sick, right, they may want their parents to make legal decisions on their behalf. And without having the documents in place saying that, and if they weren't able to communicate it, then the then anybody that's involved from a doctor perspective, nurse, healthcare, they wouldn't be able to provide that information. So again, if there was like a car accident or something where they were unconscious, they wouldn't be able to authorize you to be able to give your opinion on what kind of healthcare that they would want because they were unconscious. So again, it's then having to go to court and to get guardianship. And we see this a lot when it comes to older clients where, if they didn't have the plans in place and then clients come to us because their parents are no longer able to make decisions, then at that point it's kind of too late. And then we have to go through the court system. And so again, this is really trying to make things easier on the front end so that you have all of the legal documents in place that prevents the court interference, which costs a lot of money and it saves a lot of time rather than having to go through that. Um, and then, if you have a child that is going out of state for college, that's another thing that it adds a whole nother layer of complications because then, it takes longer to get there. So having the ability to have those documents already done rather than having to go through a court process, whether it be here or in the state that they are, is really going to save time by having those legal documents already completed. Um, if you didn't have the documents and something had to be done and it had to go through court, then you would have a judge basically saying, yes, you are the people that would be able to make these decisions on behalf of your children. But there could be issues if what if there's other family members involved, or what if there's, if there's a divorce between the parents and then the parents are arguing over it, right? So it's really just trying to make it very clear right now. If you have any questions at any point throughout this, please make sure to put those in the comments and I will try and get to those at some point. Okay. Okay, so now that I have given you lots of kind of information on the things of what could happen, how do you actually prevent it? Or what are the things that you can do that if something happened, you would have the legal documents? So what are the forms? These are the forms that help you, and there are 5 that I'm going to be going over. So the first one is a HIPAA authorization. You probably are familiar with HIPAA just because every time, at least when you had a child that was under 18, have to go to the doctor, sign a HIPAA authorization as the parent. And basically the HIPAA authorization is just there to protect patient information. And so it doesn't allow the ability for healthcare providers to provide protected healthcare information from a patient to anybody else. And so what the HIPAA authorization form does is it allows the person who's signing the form to say that if something happened to me and I couldn't say, yes, I want my doctors and nurses to be able to talk to whoever I want, this form would actually allow that. It's a HIPAA authorization waiver form. And it says, yes, if I am unable to communicate it, these are the people that I would want to talk to doctors to get medical records to find out what is going on. And this form allows you to be able to do that. So for a young adult, this is the form that I would recommend that they would complete, that they would list their parents, if they had any siblings or anybody else that they wanted to be able to get information, right? If something happened to them to get that medical information, then they can put all of them on there and then get this form executed and signed by your young adult. Okay, the next is just the benefits of the HIPAA. A lot of times really people don't really think about this. But by completing the HIPAA authorization form ahead of time, again, it allows that if something happened, immediately you are able to gain access of medical records, find out what is going on, talk to the doctors, find out, anything that you need to. Without it, this is where court intervention may be necessary. And so it's really important to have this document, especially, if you have a young adult, you want to make sure that you are always able to be able to get the information if something were to happen and they couldn't say they wanted you involved. Right? Okay, next, second document, an advanced healthcare directive. Some people know this as a living will. A lot of times I hear people kind of refer to it as that. In California, we call it an advanced healthcare directive. And so the advanced healthcare directive is basically a document where you identify an agent, also known as the principal. Um, I'm sorry, the principal is the person who's creating the document. The agent is the person that they are identifying to be able to make healthcare decisions on their behalf if something were to happen to them. And happen to them, I mean some type of incapacitation where, they didn't know what was going on around them. They couldn't make mental decisions. They didn't have the cognitive abilities to make those decisions. Um, the healthcare power of attorney only goes into effect, or the directive only goes into effect if something were to happen to them, right? So it's not like it would just automatically go into effect once signed that they can go and be able to make these decisions on behalf of somebody. It's only if something were to happen and they were incapacitated. Does it allow them the ability to make those decisions? So some of the benefits of the healthcare directive is it allows the person, the agent that's been identified as the power of attorney agent, to be able to talk to the doctors, right? To be able to quickly make decisions on what is the best to do for their child. And to really kind of come up with a plan with the doctors and figure out, what's the best course of action. And by having this advanced healthcare directive, already completed and just, in your possession, it allows you to say, yes, my child has already filled this out. They want me making decisions. What do we need to do? Right? It's a very quick response to being able to do this. Um, so again, by having this already completed, and it's only a what if, right? It's just a planning tool. Without it, that's where court involvement may be necessary, where you would have to go to court and get the court to say, yes, you have guardianship over healthcare decisions for your child. So that's again time that it takes to actually get that, and then the money to have to go through it. And so by having this other document completed, again, it's just one more thing that really provides a quick response to be able to do anything that needs to be done. Okay. Next, power of attorney. So this is very similar to the last document that I talked about with the healthcare, but this specific power of attorney is relating to financial decisions. So this is a document where you identify an agent to be able to make financial decisions on your behalf if you are unable to do so. So paying bills, filing tax returns, going to the post office, calling the credit card company, anything that essentially that if you can do it on your own, your agent can step into your shoes and be able to act on your behalf for these financial decisions. Um, the person that creates the power of attorney and is signing it, they are known as the principal. And the person that is being appointed as the agent is also known as the attorney in fact. So these are common terms that I hear that people, so just kind of giving you reference if you've heard of similar things. One thing that I really like about the power of attorney in California is we can actually make the power of attorney either effective immediately upon signing, meaning, if you had a child that was going away to college and they wanted you to be able to, go to their bank here or, call the credit card company now and, handle things for them, they could make it effective now so that you would be able to do anything you needed to do to be able to assist them from a financial aspect. But they also have the ability to make it a springing power of attorney, meaning it only springs into effect upon incapacity. So it really depends on the situation with the with the now young adult, is if they want it to be effective immediately, or if it's only if something were to happen that they would want their parents to step in and be able to, access their bank or, you know, um, pay bills or do anything that they needed to do. So it's really their decision. They get to decide. And every situation is going to be different depending on what's going on with the family and the dynamics. Okay? So some of the benefits of the power of attorney is a child when they I'm sorry, a young adult or your child when they exercise this and they create this document, it just allows them to have somebody else kind of in their corner helping them with things if they need it, right? I know going off to college is very stressful. There's a lot of things, and this is just one thing that you can hand off to your parent to be able to assist with if that's what you're used to doing and your parent is willing to be able to assist in that side. Um, Also, it's really helpful to have this document if they are going to be away from home. So anything that needs to be taken care of from a financial perspective back at home, the kid doesn't need to be here to be able to handle it. The parents should be able to do that. Or if they're traveling, right, doing a semester abroad or something, having that power of attorney could be, again, very beneficial. Um, it can also be really helpful if they're receiving financial aid or any type of financial assistance. So the parent then being able to act on their behalf. I know that, getting loans and financial assistance and financial aid, it's all kind of very confusing and there's a lot that has to go into it. So having the parents being able to assist might be really beneficial for the students or for the young adults. Okay, the next one. This one I think is something that a lot of parents don't really consider when their kids are going off to college. A FERPA release. So there is this act, the Family Educational Rights and Privacy. And the idea behind this act is to protect college students' privacy, right? All of their information is protected, and it is protected from parents. In addition to that, so if something were to happen and you didn't have this FERPA release done, the parents might not be able to access any of the information relating to the grades, if there's been any disciplinary actions, bills for school, financial aid, any of that kind of stuff. And so a FERPA release, so you can either create one on your own. I recommend going to the school's website and looking to see if they have just type in FERPA in the school's website search, and they usually have a waiver. And every school that I've searched, I found a waiver there that you can print out and have the students have to sign it and say what they're giving the parents access to or whoever they're giving access to it. And then it gets put on record with the school so that if the parents have to call into the school to get information, they can see that the FERPA release is there and it's good until it's revoked. And so if the kids go to school there for 4 years, it's good for the 4 years. There is an exception to this where information relating that protected privacy information, it can be released if the parents can prove that the kids are dependent. And so they have to send in their tax returns, their federal tax returns to the school and prove that they are a dependent student, which I'm sure a lot of parents can. But by doing this FERPA release and just having it on file, it just keeps it there with the school. Whereas with the tax returns, it would be every year that you would have to send that in. And this just makes it easier and quicker to be able to make sure that if you need to access something, it's there. Um, okay. And a will is it's really something happens, it says exactly how you would want things carried out if you were to pass away. Um, and so you think, well, is it really necessary, right? My kid doesn't have anything, they don't need a will. And the idea of it when you have somebody that's young is that it allows your child to be able to say if something were to happen, what happens like with their social media accounts, email accounts, gaming accounts, bank information, or bank accounts, things like that. It allows you the ability because they're identifying somebody in the will who they want to be their personal representative. And while it's not necessary from an asset perspective because they may not have assets, it does really start this kind of thinking for them that you should be thinking in the long term, right? So it's kind of instilling in them these ideas that you should be thinking about your future, right? You should be thinking about the long term, just like with financial success and teachings in that aspect. By creating this will, you are thinking about, how you want things, and these planning documents are part of that, growing up, that adulthood, becoming an adult, the adulting kind of phase. And so it's really just kind of teaching them about this as they're getting older. Okay, so I know it's hard to think about some of this stuff when it comes to your kids. But it's so important, if anything, hopefully you will have taken from this that there are certain things that if legal documents aren't in place prior to an event happening, because that's the big problem is if something happens at that point, it's a different kind of stage of planning, right? I call it crisis planning because then it's having to going to court, get involvement, get a judge to make decisions. Whereas if the stuff is done before this pre-planning stage, then it just makes things so much smoother. It lays out the plan, it keeps the costs down. There's not that stress about it. It just makes it a lot easier. Okay. I want to make sure that you guys get my free parents checklist for college kids. It goes through a lot of the stuff that we just talked about in one document, as well as a few other things, when it comes to kids going off to college and just really having an idea of, who are they with, right? Who are their roommates? What is their roommate's phone number? Make sure their roommate has your phone number so that if you ever need to contact, you can't get a hold of your kid, you can contact their roommate, or the roommate can call you if there's ever issues. So it's just little things like that to make sure that, it's kind of giving you some ideas. I think back to when I went to college and I was like, my mom didn't know any of this stuff. And it's just, as a parent now, like these are absolutely things, especially with our technology, that makes it so easy for us just to be so connected and make sure that our kids are safe and that the things are going on around them, that we are there for them. So I'm going to put the free printable in the chat. You can download that. You can also get it from our website under our free resources and printables. So I'm going to put that there for you. Okay, so we do have our college safeguard system. This is to help any now young adult put a plan in place. And so that it is going to come with a HIPAA authorization form, advanced healthcare directive, and we also do that power of attorney document. The system is $495. The documents we provide them, depending on where you're located, we provide them in a digital format, so you can just get them printed and then go get them notarized. If you are local to our Ventura office, you can come in at any point. The kids can get the documents notarized here in our Ventura office. This is only for California residents. We are only licensed in California. If you are out of state, please reach out to me. I work with attorneys all over the country, and I'm happy to send another attorney information to you to be able to assist you if you're in a different state. But this is really these documents that we talked about to really make sure that, if something were to happen, these are the things that are going to allow you to be able to get the information, to make decisions, to know what's going on, and really be able to act for them on their behalf. If you have a student or a young adult that is going off to college, or maybe they're not going off to college, but you have a 19-year-old that you haven't really thought about this, and they have a job now, and they might still live with you or not, but you want these documents for them, right? You want to make sure that they don't have to be going away to college to get them. They just need to be a young adult over the age of 18. You can book an appointment from our website. I'm going to put the link here, and you're going to book the College Safeguard System appointment. And it's just a quick 30-minute phone call where we get some information to kind of get everything started. We're going to send a worksheet to your young adult to be able to answer questions as to who they want for specific things and what they want. And then we get all the documents completed for them. Okay. I will now open it up for questions. We have a few minutes left, and I don't want to take up more of your time. So if you have any questions, please put those in the chat now. And if I think of anything as questions are coming up, I'm happy to share that with you. I'll give it just a minute for questions. And if not, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. I hope this was very, hope that it gave you a lot of information that maybe you hadn't thought about when you have a child that is going from 17 to 18, and really all of the stuff that can come with it. What document is included in the package? It was 3 documents. So it's the HIPAA authorization, the advanced healthcare directive, and the power of attorney document. Those are the 3 that come with the college safeguard system. The FERPA, yes, you can go pull that from your student's website for the school to be able to get that. The only other document that I generally recommend is a will. That's not included in the college safeguard system, but it is an important document if it's something that you think that would be important for your student or your young adult to have. Please let me know, because we do have will packages, right? We do estate planning. So we have will packages and trust packages. If you are a family and you have kids and you own a home, retirement, life insurance, you need some type of estate planning. Anybody over the age of 18 should have some type of estate planning. So we do all of those types of planning, including will and trust packages. Oh, I'm glad that this was great information that you were not aware of. I find that a lot of parents aren't really aware of this information. So yes, I'm glad that you found some value there. I print the forms on the website you provided. You can print the printable from the website that I provided. Yes, that is a free printable for you. Okay, would you recommend some of these documents if a child is younger than 18 but parents are not together so the child can choose who makes decisions if they're incapacitated? So they need to be 18 to be able to sign the documents. Um, that is that is what they need to be. So I think I can understand where you're coming from in this aspect. Okay. Um, yes, very eye-opening about it, especially when it comes to medical decisions. So I'm sorry, but I'm glad that you understand it now. Okay. Uh, I'll I'll stay on for one more minute if there's any other questions. But again, thank you so much for joining me today. If you have any questions, always feel free to email us info@hermanslaw.com. We do estate planning again for all. We also do probate and trust administration. So if you know of anybody that's passed away and needs help with their assets, whether it's going through probate court or administering a trust, we are here to assist with that as well. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful day. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to give us to send us an email or you can always call us as well. Thank you.